Wow, this is very exciting. I'm seeing a lot of celebrities pop up in their Zoom windows, and this is what a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and welcome to the second installment of the 2020 Seidenberg Innovation Awards. As you know, this is the Seidenberg School's signature annual event, and it honors industry leaders who inspire us to practice and achieve and reach our potential, both as professionals and as people. Our honorees tonight lead by example and demonstrate what it means to change the field of technology, to be innovative, and to make a difference in our world for the people immediately with them and for their communities at large. My deepest thanks to all of you, our PACE family and friends, for being here tonight, and to the alumni who come out and support, and our partners, industry liaisons, supporters, students, faculty, and staff. Your care and commitment to our community is really the bedrock of our culture and success, and has made the Seidenberg School, the community, and really the social experiment that it is. I'd like to acknowledge our Seidenberg Advisory Board members and delegates who helped make this evening possible. The board members and delegates of the Seidenberg School lead through service and philanthropy to make this event successful and to advance Seidenberg's mission and goals, primarily and especially to make Seidenberg and Pace University education available to our students. Very important that we give a special thanks to our title sponsors, ADP and Verizon, for making this evening possible. We are incredibly fortunate to have visionary sponsors, one of whom is with us tonight, PACE alumnus Mike Capone, Chief Executive Officer of Click, and Kevin P. Ryan, the founder and Chief Executive Officer of AliCorp. Also would like to recognize our patron sponsor, the Gray Foundation, and our friend sponsor, Lion Tree LLC, and our alumni and friends who've made thoughtful donations of time, talent, and gifts to make this event a success. With your support, we can accelerate Seidenberg's mission of STEM diversity and equality in higher education and the technology workforce. With your support, we continue to surpass the national average for female students in computing and remain the #1 private university for upward economic mobility in the United States. To affirm our appreciation of your partnership and support, I am honored and delighted to introduce the president of Pace University, Marvin Krisloff.
Thank you, Dean Hill. Jonathan, I'm really pleased to be here tonight for the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. It's also great to see so many friends, so many faculty friends, Seidenberg Advisory Board members, and students as well. Innovation is intrinsic to the mission, culture, and mindset at Pace University. And at the Seidenberg School, innovation kicks into high gear. Our Seidenberg students think big and work hard, and we help them develop the cutting-edge skills and knowledge that enable them to go out and change the world. This school, named after our beloved trustee, Ivan Seidenberg, is a school dedicated to the future, to disruption, to new technology, and to forward-thinking research. Earlier this year, our school won a National Science Foundation grant to develop wearable healthcare technologies. And this fall, the school launched industry-driven master's programs in data science and cybersecurity. And there is so much more to come. Tonight, we celebrate this spirit of innovation by recognizing an industry leader who leverages technology to deliver lasting business and social value to his company, his field, and to the communities they serve. Vipul Nagrath holds a special place in our hearts. He's a double Seidenberg alum who earned both a master's degree in computer science and a master's in telecommunications with us. Vipul, congratulations. Thank you for the work you do. Thank you for your commitment to PACE, and thank you for embodying our mission of Opportunitas. We're very, very proud of you. I also want to thank our special guest. Did you want to say something?
No, I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. We're going to give you a whole lot of time, but I did want to say my special thank you and congratulations to you. I also want to thank our special guest, Mike Capone, for being with us tonight. Mike is another extraordinary Seidenberg alum, a former Seidenberg Innovation Award honoree, and another great example of industry leadership and dedication. To our sponsors, ADP, Verizon, Mike Capone, my buddy Kevin Ryan, the Gray Foundation, and Lion Tree LLC, thank you very much for your support. And thank you so much to everyone here tonight for joining us and for your commitment to the Seidenberg School and to Pace University. And I just want to say, Jonathan, this is a great evening. We continue to see great things from the Seidenberg School and our alums, and we are looking forward to an incredibly bright future for this school and for you. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much, President Krisloff. And it makes all the difference in the world to have a president who is himself innovative, is so deeply committed to diversity, equality, and inclusion, and has done so much to create opportunity and space for the Seidenberg School to reach its full potential. Thank you. So, moving forward, we have something that I think speaks volumes about this Seidenberg School family, and that is our own students.
Hi, I'm Marlena, and because of your gift, I was able to move all the way from Europe to New York to start my master's in computer science here at Pace. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks to the scholarships, I was able to continue my educational path to a better future.
Hi, my name is Jana, and I'm an international student from Serbia. Thanks to your gift, I was able to come to Pace University and get a great job after graduation.
Thank you. I'm able to study in the US and be at Pace because of you.
Thank you for being the reason I am in school.
Thank you. Your gift makes a difference.
Hello, my name is Eugene Bazemore. I'm studying cybersecurity at Seidenberg, and just want to take a moment to say thank you for all your support. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you so much. I'm here at Pace because of your gift.
Your generous gift makes a difference. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your gift. It means a lot to me because it helps me further my education at Pace University.
Thanks to you, I got to have an amazing experience as a student. I will always cherish what you allowed me to learn.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Rhau, and I participated in the New York City Design Factory Challenge-Based Innovation Project and went to CERN at Geneva, Switzerland. During my time with this project, my experiences were once in a lifetime, and the skills that I learned during this project have actually put me ahead of my peers currently at the University of Michigan. Thank you, SIA sponsors, for making this possible.
My name is Noah, and I would like to thank Seidenberg and the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. When I joined the NYCDF Challenge-Based Innovation Program last year, I was given the opportunity to travel to CERN's headquarters based in Switzerland, where, while not only was it one of the most fun trips I've ever been on, I had the opportunity to make a ton of friends who I still keep in touch with today, and I developed both work and life experiences.
Your support allows me to collaborate with amazing people from diverse disciplines and from around the world, and helps me develop as a type of educator who designs transformative student experiences with creative problem solving. Thank you.
Hi, this is Dr. Gabberty. Thank you for your support and the efforts that we are currently doing here at Pace University, Seidenberg School of Computer Science and Information Systems. The money you supply to us is used to help us with costs associated with software, hardware, cloud costs, maintaining certifications, and the physical space. Much as thank you.
Those wonderful students are why we do what we do and are the central reason that we have events like this. And your gifts create the opportunities for those students to grow and develop and learn and to become the technology leaders of 2030. And we are so looking forward to that. And I would like to introduce you now to a technology leader of 2020 and beyond. another stellar Pace University alumnus, Mr. Dermot O'Brien, who is the Chief Transformation Officer at ADP. And not only do we have a message from Dermot we're going to play, we have him in person. So we are going to get some live comments following.
Congratulations, Vipul. We hope you can feel the pride and happiness from all of us at ADP for your well-earned recognition as an honoree for the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. You are building upon the successes and representing the legacy of ADP leaders before you who have served as honorees for this prestigious award. At ADP, we have the privilege of working alongside Vipul, who consistently demonstrates innovation and growth as a leader, colleague, and a collaborator across the organization. As a fellow PACE alum, it gratifies and inspires me greatly to know that Vipul's accomplishments and impact at ADP and in the field are a testament to the power of a PACE degree.
So Dermot, you're here. Good evening.
Good evening.
Have you had any second thoughts or anything else you'd like to share about Vipul? And
I just think it's so cute and so great. I think it's Vipul's parents are on. I was looking through, and I don't know if that's your wife. Don't want to make assumptions, yeah, but it's so great to see family as well. And as you can see from my background, I just don't leave here. This is a pandemic. I'm stuck in this cave throughout. But Vipul, wish we could all be there in person. A great recognition, great celebration. And an extra bonus tonight, I'll get to see Mike Capone, a former colleague, and get to hear from him as well. It's been a while, Mike. So congratulations again, Vipul. I'm so glad that you've been recognized this way.
Dermot, thank you. It is incredibly gracious of you to be with us, and love that coffee mug.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drinking from which to drink the Seidenberg Kool-Aid. So, this event honoring Vipul and with the wonderful contributions from Mike Capone and the pleasure of having you join us tonight, Dermot, speaks volumes about the type of company that ADP is. And we are incredibly honored to know that Seidenberg and PACE alumni have been leading the charge at this incredibly important and very successful global company. So thank you, Dermot, for being here. And I now have the great pleasure to introduce our special guest, who is admired and much beloved by us all here at PACE. Mike Capone is a forever part of our family and demonstrates the best of who we are and who we can become. Mike earned an MBA from PACE and took that degree to practice innovation, leadership, and growth throughout his career. He is a pioneer who defied the status quo by trailblazing a path from CIO to COO to CEO. Notably, Mike served as head of product development and chief innovation officer at ADP. Currently, Mike is the chief executive officer of Click, a globally renowned company that leads with data to deliver products and solutions to transform the business intelligence landscape. Indeed, if you follow the business press, if you're on business Twitter and LinkedIn, you will see news and updates about Mike constantly throughout the day. Mike's leadership and impact goes beyond his work in the field, as impressive as that is, to his contributions to our community. At PACE, Mike served as a member of the Seidenberg Advisory Board. In 2016, Mike was recognized as an honoree for the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. And this year, for the Seidenberg Innovation Awards, Mike is a generous visionary sponsor in support of PACE's mission, and in tribute to honoree Vipul Nagrath and all of his colleagues at ADP. Because of Mike's profound legacy of leadership and impact at ADP and PACE, there is really no one better to be part of tonight's celebration and to officially announce this year's honoree. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mike Capone.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. It is just a great, amazing pleasure to be here. I can't tell you how thrilled and honored I am to have been asked to do this. ADP, such a powerful part of my life, PACE, such a powerful part of my life. I'm just really moved seeing Dermot on the screen, who I haven't seen, but has such an important impact on my career. And I know Carlos, who the CEO of ADP is out there somewhere. I saw you, Carlos, and it was a terrific mentor to me, and quite frankly, I wouldn't be here today. And Vipul and I have so much in common, which is why I just really am excited to be able to have the honor of introducing him tonight. So I have had the privilege and the honor of working with ADP and PACE, and have seen firsthand the culture of innovation and inclusion that drives the success of both of these organizations. I've also seen firsthand ADP and PACE's commitment to education and economic mobility for the underserved and underrepresented individuals. I think we all just saw that powerful video that just kind of highlights that point exactly. It's these shared values and goals that are the basis of ADP's and PACE's strong and longstanding partnership. And they're the reasons why ADP has a legacy of leaders serving as honorees for the Seidenberg Innovation Awards. Tonight, that legacy continues with the recognition of Vipul Nagrath, the 2020 honoree for innovation in enterprise solutions. Recognizing Vipul is extra special for me and for PACE because he is a fellow alumnus who holds not one, but as you heard before, 2 degrees from our alma mater, PACE. Vipul embodies the award through his unmatched career as an industry leader in technology. Despite his incredible youthful appearance, he actually brings more than 25 years of experience in developing forward-thinking solutions to the field. And at ADP, Vipul transformed the company's IT culture by bringing intelligent automation to the $14 billion global technology enterprise. And I think some of you on the call know Vipul took over part of what I used to look after at ADP, and I have to say he's done just a tremendous job. I couldn't be prouder to have somebody come behind me and do such great things at ADP. Vipul leads innovation with impact at ADP as Senior Vice President, Head of Product Development in Major Account Services and Human Resources Outsourcing Canada. In this role, Vipul and his team work closely with ADP senior business leaders to execute ADP's business strategy and identify, prioritize, and execute viable technology solutions, which all means he builds really, really cool software. Vipul joined ADP in 2015 as Senior Vice President Global CIO. Prior to ADP, Vipul worked at Bloomberg. We started as a project manager and rapidly rose through the organization to become the global head of research and development. Vipul's final role at Bloomberg was Chief Information Officer and Chief Operating Officer of Bloomberg's Enterprise Solutions business. Vipul also has a track record of entrepreneurial success. Prior to Bloomberg, he ran a boutique firm specializing in computer telephony integration. And as mentioned earlier, Vipul has bachelor's and master's degrees in computer science from Pace University. So Vipul, your innovation and impact at ADP and the field are helping to redefine and forge new paths forward towards success for the future workforce. As a PACE alumnus, industry leader, and now honoree, you inspire and empower PACE students and their peers towards greatness by your example. It is for these reasons that you fully embody the spirit of this award. So Vipul, on behalf of our alma mater PACE, I am pleased to present you the 2020 Award for Innovation in Enterprise Solutions.
Thank you very much, Mike. So let me first start with the thanks. Of course, the PACE community and PACE University, thank you so very much for bestowing this honor on me. I'm truly humbled by it. I'll tell you what, for the students that are on, right, if you're sitting there today and this isn't one of those things you plan. You don't sit there while you're a student saying, hey, maybe 25 years in the future or 24 years in the future, someone's gonna recognize me for work that I've done. This is not one of those things you plan. And so this was very unexpected and not planned, but I'm extremely humbled and extremely honored. And I do have to, there's a number of thanks that I have to give. I mean, professionally, look, I really honestly should go ahead and thank each and every one of my managers along the way. But personally, first I have to start with my family, with my wife, my kids, because, at the end of the day, they have to put up with me every day. And of course, my parents and my sister and everyone else. But even professionally, the first set of thanks I have to give is to my dad. I started my career because of him. He's also in technology, and I just followed in his footsteps. But I was given the opportunity. I mean, he gave me the opportunity. When I was 14 years old, And then I just kind of fell into this, right? This is something that worked for me. This is something that I fell into, and I've loved technology my entire life. After that, I had a very interesting career. I had a very interesting time at Pace. While working full time, I was also going to school full time. And if you guys want to have some fun, go try that. Go work full time and go to school part time. Try to do these multiple things together. But I'll tell you what, that really helped me a lot. And why is because as I was learning things in school on a daily basis, I was able to apply them in my workplace. And as I was coming into school from things that I'd already learned at work, I was actually able to ace those classes. So it kind of helped me both ways. With all jokes aside, there were things that I was actually just doing at work practically because I'd been shown how to do them, but I didn't know theoretically why I was doing them. I didn't know the why behind what I was doing. And by doing these two things together, I was able to do that. So Pace really helped shape me in that way, and be able to take things like, you're doing something over here, but also understand why you're doing it and matching these together. And as I said, to do justice and to do honor, I'd have to thank every one of my managers along the way. But very specifically here at ADP, I'd like to first give thanks to Stuart Sackman for actually putting up the role and hiring me. It was a very interesting process, also a very quick process. In reality, I met, I think, half, or if not more than half of XCOM just to get hired at ADP, which is our executive committee. And I'm very grateful for that. And after Stuart, I have, a second boss at ADP, and that's Don Weinstein. And he's been extremely supportive of helping me along the way too. And I'd be remiss in not also giving thanks to Carlos, our CEO, directly. Because I came in with, I'd say, for what were some pretty bold ideas. And I was given the leeway to go, work on those ideas. And given the trust in, as you said, don't destroy the company as you do this. So, I was given the trust and the availability and given the room to go, really to go do some bold moves, which, knock on wood, at the end of the day, I think have worked out well for the company. And so I'm really pleased that I had that support to get there. And of course, Mike, thank you very much. I mean, following in your footsteps is pretty large. And, wow, what a pleasant surprise it was to walk into ADP and find other executives like Dermot, so past and current, Dermot being a current executive there, and Mike, a former executive at ADP that also had the same background as me and came from the same alma mater. That too was a pleasant surprise. And Mike, I do remember your event. I was actually there in 2016 when we could all, not have to sit in our rooms with either real or fake backgrounds and all get together in person. And hopefully someday soon we will be able to do that again. But I spending a little bit more time on Pace, as I said, for me, this unique journey where I was able to work and go to school at the same time and have both things reinforce each other was tremendous. And it really has shaped me along the way. And it was really the beginning of shaping me through what has come in the rest of my career. Along with that, and ADP and Pace's commitment to each other for years. Look, ADP is highly committed to diversity and inclusion. It's one of the things we tout ourselves at our company. In fact, as a case in point, just in the last 3 years alone, from Diversity Inc.'s rank of top 50 diverse companies in the country, we've been in the top 5 in the last 3 years. In 2018, 2019, and 2020. And so these are the kind of values that the company has, and these are the kind of values that I espouse myself. Specifically within that, my role in technology, I've also been given the availability and given the leeway to help promote and lead diversity inside technology. And that can be challenging, especially when you talk about minority diversity and gender diversity in tech. Yet again, you know, this is a place where I got a lot of support from the company. I was able to lead some initiatives and get the support from the company at large. And in fact, I'm very proud to say that this year from the AnitaB.org Institute organization, sorry, we were given the top large company for women technologists award at the Grace Hopper celebration this year. And for those of you who don't know, Grace Hopper celebration is the largest gathering of women technologists, in I think it's in the world. And it's the largest one held annually. And as a flip side, to tell you what that's like of being in the minority, I showed up as one man out of maybe 1,000 men with 22,000 women the first year that I was there. So you want the roles to get reversed, and you want to see what it's like to feel like you're part of the minority. Be a man and show up at Grace Hopper, and you'll understand quickly. But I'm grateful for both ADP's commitment to diversity and PACE's commitment to diversity and inclusion. And these are the same things that I espouse, and hopefully, you know, I'm doing my part, and I will continue to do my part in advancing these things forward. You know, look, it's what's important, you know, and especially working at a company that focuses on people, focuses on HR, on human capital management, and our tagline, right, at ADP is always designing for people. People are at the core of it all. People are at the center of it all. So what, you know, through my career, I've learned about, you know, you've got to care for your associates, you've got to care for your clients, you got to care for your customers. At the end of the day, you got to care for people. That's what makes organizations great. That's what makes companies great. That's what makes it all really come together, and then the successes come after that. And finally, you know, I've learned that if you're passionate, if you're focused, if you're thoughtful, if you're bold, all that actually will reinforce your focus even further. You put all those things together, and you just go for it. It can lead to great things. So I just really, once again, wanted to thank PACE for this award and this honor. I'm truly humbled. Thank you very much.
Vipul, that was wonderful and absolutely lovely. And I am just so incredibly proud of Pace University and the example that you set for our alumni, and just seeing the quality of people who have come through ADP. It's a wonderful partnership in that respect, seeing how PACE has developed incredible talent that's come into ADP and kept it a leading edge company around the world. But thank you so much for sharing those comments. And again, my deepest congratulations on behalf of the Seidenberg School for this recognition. It is well deserved. You truly are a leader in innovation and one of the great technology leaders in the world. And we're proud of you and so grateful that you'd be with us tonight. Thank you. So as we know, now we get to have some fun with our guests, and two for the price of one. We get both Vipul and Mike Capone. We're going to have, as always, our round robin conversation where I will ask some out of left field and perhaps somewhat inappropriate questions and put them on the spot. And then we open it up to the students and allow you to ask some really out of left field questions. And I think if we can start, you know, I think in the introductions and in your comments tonight, we all get an idea of the accomplishments that you've had. You're smart, you're creative, and you have been able to open doors and take advantage of opportunities that other people might not have. And that's, I think, in a way, the definition of a leader and an innovator in technology. And we are here in this country at a time when the election is kind of sort of over. when the pandemic is rearing its ugly head into kind of a second phase. And I'd like to start out by asking you both, what do you see happening over the 6 months, over these next 6 months? What do you see happening with your companies and with the economy? And what opportunities do you see emerging that you might recommend students look at for their own career development? And why don't we start with you, Mike?
Sure. So I'd be happy to start. So the first thing I would say to all the students out there, and I think all the leaders on this call would share this, because we've all lived through some really interesting times, is, this will pass, right? The world will go back to normal. This is a point in time. It's a very upsetting point in time, but it is just that. There is another side to this, and we're starting to see the light. What I see over the next 6 months, I think a couple things. One is, look, I think we'll continue to muscle through it. I think the governments and the U.S. in particular, the Federal Reserve and other mechanisms have learned how to manage a crisis, right? And how to inject liquidity and how to make sure the economy stays propped up. They've done a really good job, clearly much better than in 2008 when terrible things were happening. And I think it's actually a time of great innovation. So what we're seeing is companies find new ways to do business, new ways to find new customers, because some of their old ones aren't buying anymore. And my view of all this is we're going to emerge stronger as a global community and as a business community, because we've had to adapt in ways that we haven't seen before. And I think that's going to create opportunities for everybody who's entering the workforce on the heels of this. And the good news is, I spent, a lot of I spent the last 3 years before my current job in life sciences. In fact, some of the software they built, Pfizer's probably running the clinical trial that they're doing right now on their therapy, and it's going to work. Trust me, it's going to work. It's going to take time to get the logistics of this thing right, but it's going to work. And we're going to see 2021 turn the corner by the summer. We're going to be coming out of this, and things are going to be better. So very high level, that's kind of how I see it, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's encouraging, Mike, to hear. And Vipul, what's your perspective?
Well, look, my perspective is I'm always an optimistic person, so I largely share a lot of what Mike says. I do think there is a whether we want to call it a normal or a new normal, and I think there is a new normal where we've found certain things that have worked well for us, meaning, like, we're on a Zoom call right now, right? We were scheduled to have this event live. We shifted, we found ways to adapt, and we're doing it through technology. So I do believe one trend that will happen is that there will be even a greater reliance on technology. I'm actually not in that camp that believes we're going to have this mass exodus from the offices and everyone's only going to stay at home. I actually do believe people want to get back together and want to come back to offices and meet each other and socialize and collaborate face to face. And as opposed to what we're doing, which is doing collaboration in 2D, I think we have that human need to collaborate in 3D. And I think it'll be some time before we may get back to the old travel habits and those types of things. So there'll be some shifts that way, but I don't think the pendulum's going to swing as far as some of the pundits out there and some of the analysts have stated. I think we are going to, if we were all in before and it's all out, it's going to come to something in the middle. But I don't think it's going to be, as bad and as much away from the office as people are saying. But again, I think we've shown as really as mankind, as humankind, right? We've shown as humans that we can adapt and we can keep going. And especially for those of us in technology, I think most of us will say we were able to pretty much continue right on going without missing a beat.
That's, again, I think a very encouraging message. And I want to maybe give our audience tonight a little more context. And, we've been talking a lot about ADP, and most of us on this call and in this country and around the world, get their paychecks through ADP and lots of related services. But, ADP's got a great chief innovation guy, and maybe it'd be useful to know a little bit more about what ADP is doing and how this bedrock company is positioning itself for the future.
Sure. Look, we are extremely devoted to innovation. Firstly, we're a 70+ year young company, right? I mean, it's we've in many regards we're the original outsourcer. We're the original cloud company. We've been offering services to our clients and innovating along the way for 70 years. That's just ingrained. It's just really core to our DNA as a company. And that's not changing. So what are we doing? Look, we've got in our industry for our specific world, we've got innovations coming and next generation products coming from a human capital management perspective, from a payroll perspective, from a time and attendance perspective. So the entire suite of products that we have and that we build, we're not just sitting back and resting on our laurels and saying, hey, we've had this success where we've got 70 years of a great track record and that's what carries us forward to the future. No, on the contrary, it's like, listen, we don't want to be a company that used to be great. We want a company that is great and continues to be great. And so for that reason, we are, in our entire product suite, at everything from our down market to our mid market to our up market and international and multinational market, we are constantly innovating and releasing new products out there, right? And we think we're well poised to do that. Again, this is I'm very proud of being at this company. I'm also very proud of what we were able to do. Meaning, pandemic hit, all these things happened. Guess what? Didn't change. People still got paid. We made sure of that, right? HR systems kept working. We made sure of that. And that's what I think when the chips are down, you have to go to a company where you can rely on it, and I think we did that very well.
Yeah, that's thank you for sharing that. It certainly I think helps all of us understand a little bit more about where ADP is today and where you're going as a company. And Mike, we often say that you have the coolest job in show business, right? Qlik is the data analytics company, and I'm told that big data is no longer the buzz term, but tell us a little bit about the data business and what brought you to Qlik and what the opportunities are that you're looking at.
Sure. Yeah, so I've been at Qlik about 3 years now, and for those of you who don't know Qlik, because even though we like to call it the data company here in the U.S., we have a little bit less of a strong brand than we do outside of the U.S. But we are a data and analytics company. If you think of our nearest competitors as companies like Tableau, Microsoft's Power BI, et cetera. So that's kind of the category we're in. But we like to think of ourselves as so much more than that. Look, it's really simple. The reason I joined Qlik after 26 years at ADP and 3 years at Medidata was the concept of how data can really change the landscape of business, help companies compete and win in the market better, drive profitability, drive innovation, but also data can change the world. Data can change the world. And one of the things I did at Medidata, my last company, we're in the clinical trial space, which is getting a lot of attention right now, with all the vaccine development, is we started to use data to simulate outcomes of drug therapies inside of patients so that we didn't have to give experimental drugs to patients because that can have unpredictable results. And we did it. We pulled it off. And I thought about the next phase of my career, which was, what if I could take data and information, apply it to every industry, but not just every industry, every facet of life, every facet of society. And so I joined Qlik to help companies do that. But I also joined Qlik because Qlik, founded in Sweden over 20 years ago, is deep corporate social responsibility. And part of that is using our tools, our technology, and our people to help solve big problems. So we work with the United Nations on child trafficking. We look for patterns in immigration data to pick up things that might look like people are being smuggled across borders. We work on climate change, which is real, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. It's happening. And our technology is used by the UN, by a group called C40 cities to actually help tackle climate change locally, because country governments aren't doing enough about it. So we're helping to tackle it locally. And you know, companies that use data and information, people that use data, organizations, not-for-profits, governments that use data better, more efficiently, are the ones that are going to survive and thrive. And I just want to be a small part of helping everybody do that.
Yeah, that's laudable stuff, Mike. And you know, companies are starting to realize that they've got millions of records, they've got all this data. How much coaching does your team have to give a client company for them to really start getting actionable information out of this data?
A lot. You know, there's still a turn to be made. I think companies are doing a better job every day. But look, there's a joke out there right now. All of you seen it floating around social media, which is, you know, who's driving your digital transformation? And it's this, you know, the CEO, the CIO, the CDO, or COVID, right? And the answer is COVID, right? Because it's forced companies to think about the world differently. And, you know, just a great example is, you know, we just did a really large deal with a company called Urban Outfitters. I think everybody knows who they are, right? Apparel business. Target market is, you know, teenage girls. Back to school, you know, not happening this year, right? That's a huge sales cycle for them. So this is a company that's losing top line revenue in this difficult period. And what's worse is that, you know, they thought they knew what was going on because they used data very well. They used historical data very well. They understood buying patterns, what was going to happen now, what the fashion trends were. What they couldn't anticipate was no kids going back to school and all doing this, like standing here looking on Zoom, where, you know, the top of your clothes may matter, but the bottom doesn't matter. And they suddenly realized that, wow, we got to do things differently. All our data scientists who've been just loading data and doing pattern recognition and machine learning on historical data, not useful. Like, what other sources of data can we look at? How can we bring disparate sources of data together to figure out what's happening in China as they come out of this? What's happening in other parts of the world? What are the forecasts and from external sources? And that's what Click's really good at. We're really good at bringing large disparate data sets together and making sense of them. And so we've been helping just a lot of companies rethink how they're going to survive and thrive going forward and using data to do that.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. And I want to talk a few minutes with both of you about technologies and emerging technologies. Our wonderful faculty on the call tonight, you know, they want your thoughts on, you know, what the emerging technologies are that we need to prepare our students to use. Both of you, I gather, are very involved in the cloud. Vipul, what role does cloud computing play for ADP, and where is that technology going to go in the next few years?
Yeah, look, the cloud is always a fun topic to talk about, and then there's many definitions of quote unquote the cloud. If you're, you know, even if you just look at it from our perspective, if you're a client of ours, whether that cloud happens to be in a data center we run, or it happens to be in a data center that's run by someone else and we're using services on that data center, it's still the same, you know, it's still the same, so to speak. It's still a cloud. So, you know, I think there is a shift on where we spend a lot of effort and time and money building data centers, and in the future, if there's a more efficient way to do that with greater services and what we call the public cloud and things like what AWS and Google and others offer, I think that actually is just something that takes what was a higher barrier to entry, it kind of lowers that barrier to entry and actually just leaves more room for innovation. When you get to scale, you know, there are things that you have to do very carefully because it's not all really simple and straightforward, and you could actually find yourselves upside down. So it's not like automatically if you go to a public cloud provider, you're cheaper. And it's not automatically that if you stay inside, you're cheaper. You have to be very thoughtful on how you use these services, on how you use infrastructure services, and especially as we go to higher level services. So you've got to be very thoughtful of how that's done. I do believe though, when you're a really small company, when you're in a startup phase, when you've just got an idea, it gives you a way to have a low barrier to entry to go start things, to try things and get moving. So on an overall basis for the world at large, I think those types of cloud computing, public cloud computing environments are actually going to lead to lots and lots and lots of innovation throughout the world. And by the way, for even companies of our size, right, it's not something that we ignore, and it's not like it's not good for us. In fact, I think it's very good for us. But the reality is it's only one piece. There's so much more, right? We can talk about the infrastructure, we can talk about some other services that are offered, but at the end of the day, it's about how well we've built our applications, and do those applications meet the needs of our clients? I can have a really cool idea, but if no one wants it and it's not meeting their needs, what's the point? Yeah. So I've got to go build something that's useful for them. I got to put myself in the seat of my clients and saying, if I were in that seat, what do I need? And build from that perspective, right? So I do believe that the public cloud is going to help us proliferate more innovation, and it's going to allow more ideas to come out. But outside of that, especially for those of us who've been doing it a long time, and Mike did this role before I did, right? It was for us. It's a little bit. It's not that brand new. It was just moving from one place to another.
That's interesting, and I know I want to follow a little bit in this vein. One of the click ads I saw recently says something like, accelerate business value with data on our cloud or any cloud. And, you guys are recognized world-class technologists, but some of your clients are big technology companies, and you're dealing on a client-vendor relationship with, CIOs and CTOs and hotshot coders from big tech companies. How does that work? Is that a challenge when you're having to do an integration with the IT company at a big tech firm or a Fortune 50 company?
It's not, Jonathan. So first, I agree with Vipul. I mean, look, the cloud computing is electricity, right? It's what electricity was to us 20 years ago. Nobody differentiates anymore on like where you're running your compute. It's just not a thing. Where we like to play, where we like to win is what we call the cloud wars, right? Which is Amazon and Microsoft and Google all fighting over use our cloud, and because we're just these little agnostic guys, we're like the arms dealer to everybody. Like we just say, yeah, that's fine. Where you put your data. But we say is, by the way, you don't want to have a proprietary set of solutions, right? You want to buy everything from Salesforce, everything from Amazon, everything from Google, because you need choices, or you're going to get economically disadvantaged at some point by giving a vendor pricing power over you. And then it's just back to exactly, I couldn't have said it better than what Vipul said. It's not, Netflix doesn't win because they run on Amazon. They win because they've got amazing AI and search and content. And my daughter doesn't care where her pictures land or where Netflix runs. Like she just wants to know the technology is cool and it meets a very specific consumer demand or business demand, and that's really what it's about. Anybody who's spending time talking about their data center, their computing right now, they need to rethink their career. Like that part is over.
Interesting. Very interesting. And Vipul?
Yeah, same. Follow on with what Mike said, right? Like we've got things running in our data centers and data centers that we own, which is one cloud, and we've also got things running in the public cloud, right? And at the end of the day, for our clients, it really shouldn't matter, right? And I know sometimes, in sales pitches we may want to talk about it, but at the end of the day, it's the service we're providing. And we're committed to providing that service regardless of where we end up laying the infrastructure.
I just want to point out to our audience that we're coming very quickly up to the point where you, the audience, get to ask the questions. You can put them in the chat room, and we'll let you unmute yourself and ask the question directly if you'd like to. We like to make these things as personal as possible, and we certainly want Vipul and Mike to have a chance to meet you. So go ahead and get those into the chat room. And we're talking about technologies, right? We've got some brilliant young first-year students who have had the challenge of starting their college careers online, and they're sitting in Santiago, Chile, and in Miami, and in Yonkers, and the wonderful thing is they get to interact on Zoom, but they don't get to party in each other's dorm rooms quite yet. But that being said, we are going to prepare them to graduate in 4 years. And what would you recommend to them that they focus on so that they can be the next Vipul Nagrath, the best Mike Capone, the next Dermot O'Connor?
Want me to go first, Jonathan?
That'd be great.
Okay, sure. Look, everybody can take a different path, right? I think, based on what I know about Vipul, what I know about myself and Dermot O'Brien and even Carlos, we're obviously technologists, right? Vipul and I for sure. Dermot, not so much. He's just okay at technology, but and we're good at it. But I think that it's really the blend. It's really that blend of being well educated, being well-rounded in terms of your life outlook, and also understanding the intersection of business and technology that matters, right? So I had a computer science undergrad, sadly not from Pace, but from a liberal arts university. And you know what? I wouldn't trade that for anything, because even though I learned how to code, I also learned how to write and how to speak and how to read. And then when I was working at ADP in my first job, I was very fortunate enough to be given opportunities to do technology projects, but that intersected with business operations and business, and things that actually mattered to the business. And that got me incredibly curious. And that's what led me to sign up to go to Pace, like Vipul, at night, part-time, working full-time, and get my MBA in finance. And that brought a whole new dimension. And so when I talk to younger people who are in that phase of their lives, look, that engineering degree is going to get you your first job. It's great. There's lots of technology and programming jobs out there, and you should definitely take advantage of that. But as you grow your career, you gotta expand. You gotta look at beyond technology. How can I create value with my technology skills, married with me as a person, as an educated, smart, well-rounded person, and make a difference? And then volunteer for things that are out of your comfort zone. Like I did at ADP, going out and running a global payroll outsourcing business, and push yourself to make yourself better.
Love it. Vipul?
Yeah, look, I'd add to that. There are a few things that right now, if you're a freshman, you're in your first year, or even if you're in your last year about to graduate, few things you got to realize, right? And I think this pandemic really highlights it. For one, you got to be flexible. For two, you got to be resilient. For three, you got to expect the unexpected. Who could have called this, right? Who could have said this was going to happen a year ago? If we were sitting here last Thanksgiving or last Diwali, as Diwali's coming on Saturday, right? Who would have thought this was going to happen? No one saw it coming. So you got to be ready and be prepared for the unexpected. And the reality is that your life, your careers are going to take you in places and paths that are not intended, that are not what you can plan. They're just going to go off in different ways. So I double down on what Mike was saying. Be as well-rounded as you can, right? Have your foundation. I will tell you at the end of the day, I am a technologist. I love technology. I'll continue to be a technologist. At the same time, I've also learned to become a listener. I've learned how to become a psychologist. I've learned how to become a finance person, learn about generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP, right? I didn't even know what GAAP meant before I started working. But I kind of have a pretty good idea about that now. Being in the HR space, I learned about the EEOC, right? These things you don't know until you actually get into the workplace. And you say, oh yeah, wow, I'm now a senior leader. I'm doing some hiring, and equal opportunity matters. And in fact, if I don't do enough of that, someone may legally come after me, right? It's a real thing, right? So you've got to take multiple aspects in and realize that year after year after year, you've got to continue to expand your knowledge, expand your horizons, and really be ready for the unexpected. So when there's a fork in the road, you're able to just flow along with it rather than getting stopped.
I love that. And if you gentlemen want to take a deep breath, because now we get to the really challenging part of the evening and you get interviewed by our beloved students. And
bring it.
The first question, as it always seems to happen, goes to Jackie Lee Martinez.
Hello, hi. So first, I'd like to thank you guys for coming to speak to us, and it's nice to meet you all virtually. So my question for you guys is, has ADP or Click noticed any changes to market trends that were caused by the pandemic?
Mike, you want to start?
Sure, be happy to start. Just a clarifying question, we say market trends, you're talking about like company buying trends, or you're talking about employment trends? Jackie, could you?
Buying trends, yes.
Buying trends, yeah. Yeah, no, without a doubt. There is some of my biggest customers are automotive companies, so BMW, Volvo, Fiat, Ford. Demand for new cars has dropped off completely. Demand for used cars, on the other hand, has gone through the roof. Go try to get a used car right now and see if you can. It's an amazing thing. Obviously, online retail and everything has gone through the roof. You know, brick and mortar, as you imagine, has fallen off a cliff. Certain industries have been really hit very, very hard. Travel, hospitality. I was talking to Aramark yesterday. They do all the corporate cafeterias, some university cafeterias. The revenue's down by half. They went from 15 billion down to 8 billion. So some of this is temporary, but unfortunately, I think some of it is permanent. I think you see a permanent change in travel, entertainment, lodging, and the world's going to have to normalize after this. But it will bounce back. But there's definitely been very pronounced changes in buying and market trends. Vipul?
Yeah, same thing. We're seeing the same thing from our data, right? We if you're not aware, right, we ADP do put out a monthly report, the NER, the National Employment Report, and we know what's going on with companies. We know what the employment market looks like. We know what sectors are employing and what sectors are not employing, and absolutely right, and we can see it. It's pretty obvious. The hospitality sector, restaurants, food services, these sectors have taken some pretty bad hits, unfortunately, during all this. At the same time, there are other companies. If you just look at it at the stock market, in fact, and you look at tech companies, and you look at other sectors that are actually doing quite well. I can tell you at a very personal level. I had a painter come to my house. It turns out the painter is a customer of ADP's, right? And that painter came in and said, "Oh yeah, hey, I use you guys, for doing my payroll." I said, "Oh, okay." And he was saying, and we heard that the government's got this loan program going on, and I'd like to I'm going to go apply for that. And by the way, I noticed that on your site you've given us a place to go to get the packet of information that I need to go apply for the loan, right? Like you needed all this payroll information to go get the loan. And so it was served up for him, and he's just thanking me. He happened to realize that I worked at ADP. I just saw my shirt, and he's thanking me for that. And in that marketplace where like painters or home repair, like Mike's saying, is like try to find a used car, but try to find a contractor today to come to your house and do any work. They are pegged because at first there was a delay, but sure enough, we're months into this. Everyone's staying inside their homes, not spending money on new cars, not spending money on vacations, and guess where there's a lot of demand is on home contractors and painters and landscapers. So there are these micro segments that have actually done very well, and then other segments that unfortunately have been hurt pretty badly.
Interesting. Thank you. And Jackie, as always, thank you for that wonderful question. We have a question from an alum who is a very talented man, and I suspect is going to be a Seidenberg Innovation Awards honoree in the very near future. So Hamza, good evening.
Thank you, Jonathan. Vipul and Mike, this was very, very interesting. Definitely learned a lot from you today. All your experience around technology innovation, those are my favorite topics. So definitely learned a lot. Vipul, my two questions. The first one, maybe Vipul addressed to you specifically, and then the second one, both of you could answer it. My question is, being a larger organization, what is ADP strategy and how does it go and compete with smaller digital startups when it comes to innovation or going to market faster? So how does ADP compete with small companies there? And the second part of my question is, what lessons have you learned throughout your journey that enables you to unleash the creativity of your workforce?
Sure, I'll take the first one. And so I think there's some unique things that we've done at the company. And I will say in some of the areas where we were trying to launch some, as we call them, next generation products and some innovative products. And this all happened even before I got there. And actually, Mike, I believe it started under you, right? We created some in certain segments for our company where we're trying to get these next generation innovative products done. We've created almost like sub brands and really what just allowed parts of the company to kind of run on their own, right? And really run completely like a startup. On the one hand, you might think, and you come into our corporate offices and see rows of desks lined up and offices lined up, and if you came to our Chelsea office, you might not even realize that it's ADP. It's even physically different, completely open layout, loft style space, right smack in Chelsea, New York. And so, and there is something to be said about physically changing the space around and also just allowing people to have that creativity in that space and I'll say in some regards be unencumbered by some of the other, unfortunately, some of the other larger bureaucracy that comes in. But after some time, you got to take these projects and turn these projects into real products and take these real products and have a real strategy and a real market and, well, at the end of the day, put on your big boy pants and turn it into a real business, right? So we have to go do that too. So there's a point where you get to have that incubation, that startup. And we've actually done it, and I'm giving one example of what we've done with a product in New York City, but we've actually done, we have these labs that we've set up around the world. And we've used this lab concept and these labs to be these innovation centers, these innovative labs to create the next ideas and the next generation products. And now we're going through a stage where we're taking those ideas and maturing them and turning them into real full big production systems. And then the second part of your question, I'll let Mike start on the second part of your question.
Yeah, you're good. It feels like a while ago since the question. So can you repeat it, Hamza?
Yeah, absolutely. So the second part of my question was, what lessons have you learned and you can share with us that helps you unleash the creativity of your workforce?
Yeah, in terms of, it's an interesting question. I spent 26 years inside of ADP, which is a great big company. And I think you asked the right question, which is how do you innovate? And I have a ton of respect for Carlos and Dermot and Vipul because they continue to do it because it is harder. It is harder in a large organization, particularly one that's 70 years old, because you have to constantly reinvent what you invented, right? And that is so much harder than just being a startup and being disruptive to some other folks. And having worked in really large organizations and then some smaller organizations, it definitely is easier to innovate in the smaller organizations, just how it is. Look, you have to give people freedom to be able to innovate. And Vipul said something really earlier, or much earlier which is about this work from home stuff. And the whole thing about, everyone's going to go, this whole thing about everybody never coming back to the office is just not true. And it's just not true. My best moments, my best people, my best innovation is when I get my team together in Sweden or in Ottawa or in New York City, and we sit in a room and we whiteboard and we create. Everybody in the organization, top to bottom, has the right to submit ideas on software. We run hackathons all the time to unleash that capability, and we really, and then we do take some of them and we productize them. And we make sure that people know that if we really get a good idea, it counts for something. And that seems to help. The other thing we do is I've done 7 acquisitions in my time at Click in 3 years, really small tech tuck-ins, company in Israel, I just bought a company in Belgium, 5, 10 person companies. The one in Israel is bigger, but, and you know why? Because they remind us, they're building stuff faster, better than we are. And they remind us that we got to innovate, and that shakes up my team. So I like to do one of those every 3-4 months just to show everybody that, to keep everybody on their toes.
Great.
Yeah, I would also echo that. Look, innovation can, and I think does come from everywhere. And as leaders, Mike's been in this role, I'm in this role, like our jobs as leaders is to promote and provide that environment where people can express their ideas, can come up with ideas. And then after that is, as senior leaders, we work with them to hone those ideas, right? And you get people together saying, here's an idea. Now, how do I turn that idea again from just an idea to something that's real, then something that's meaningful? So you got to first just have the environment that allows ideas to come out, and you don't squash them, you don't kill them. And then you let the teams, quote unquote, do their magic, right? And when the teams come together and you start guiding them, they can do that. And I think if you keep that healthy environment around, you'll continue to always innovate.
We have, this night just keeps getting better, and we have a very, very, very special guest who has come on to Zoom to join us. Carlos A. Rodriguez is the Chief Executive Officer of ADP, and he has come in to say good evening to Vipul and Mike and everyone. Carlos, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And speaking of innovation, I'm coming to you from an iPad parked in a parking lot from a car. So that's who would have thought 10 or 20 years ago we'd be doing that. It's great to see all of you. And Vipul, first of all, congratulations. It's an incredible accomplishment, but it's also wonderful to see Mike and to see Dermot. So obviously there must be something in the water at Pace, because all three of you guys are great leaders and great executives. But on the technology front, Mike and Vipul, you guys really made a huge difference for ADP. So thanks for everything you did for ADP, and congratulations for everything you guys have accomplished. You both deserve to be recognized this way, because I know that Mike is a past winner of the recognition. But here's my question. I think Dean said that he was going to ask some inappropriate questions, and I haven't heard him ask any yet. So I think I'm going to ask the first inappropriate question.
Nice.
Question is for both of you. In the beginning, when you talked about your careers, you talked about a lot of bosses and a lot of names. And I just wanted to ask for each one of you to say, who was your favorite boss?
Hey, Mike, I'll let you take that one first.
I'm kicking it over to the guy, that man of the hour here. Big pictures on the program.
Well, you both failed. You both failed the test already.
No. I'll tell you, Carlos, I will tell you, you may or may not remember this conversation. I remember it very well. It was when you were about to become CEO. You had won the succession race. You had proven that, that you were going to be the guy to take the company to the next generation. I was sitting in the cafeteria at ADP, and you said to me, I was the CTO at the time, and you said, when I get this job, I really want to make a difference in product. I feel like we haven't done enough in that space, and we're going to get disrupted unless we move forward. And I want to talk to you, Mike, about how we can do that. And can you be my partner in going and doing that? I hope you remember that conversation, because it stuck with me a long time. And at that moment, you absolutely became my favorite boss.
Well, by the way, you made a difference, because some of the things that we were talking about that Vipul was mentioning about Chelsea, you planted all those seeds, and we've been building on it ever since. So thanks for starting it to become a reality. It's going to take us a while. We're a big company, and as we all said, it takes time to change in a big company after 70 years. But you certainly laid the right groundwork, and Vipul, as I know, followed in your footsteps.
That's right.
Congratulations to both of you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Dermot, I think it's only fair that we give you a chance to weigh in here.
My favorite boss is down in the living room waiting for me. Zoom call.
Genius.
That's the best answer I got.
Answer. That's the right answer.
That was the right answer.
Good for you.
And Carlos, we are so honored that you would come out tonight, and it speaks volumes about the culture of ADP that you would make the time to be here. And I hope you'll come and see us at Pace and drink some of the water. There's some really, really fun people here.
I will if I'm invited. Thank you.
It is an open invitation, and as soon as we can get it on your calendar, we'll make that. I think we need to have an ADP day. I don't know how many alums, PACE alums currently are employed at ADP. You might know, Craig, how many?
Yes, it's well over 80. It's like 82 or 83. So it's a pretty good number.
Yeah, and
that's a pretty good number.
Well, thank you for that. We appreciate the talent.
Yeah, with the stock doing so well, we need to reach out to all the PACE alums at ADP, and Gary, our VP of Development, is excited. So it's a great thing. And speaking of fabulous people, Simone Gonzalez, where are you? There you are.
I'm here.
Hi, Simone.
Okay, so good evening. It's nice to meet you both virtually. Congratulations on everything you've accomplished. I have a specific question for both of you. So first, Vipul, if you could change one thing at ADP, technologically speaking, what would that be?
Technologically speaking, what would that be? You know, look, there are, I can give you one. There's one thing that is as large as we are at ADP, as successful we are at ADP, one of the things we do have is that over the years, and it didn't happen all at once, but over the years, we had a very large product proliferation, which means is we've pretty much got every technology at the moment. So the technologically, one of the things I do is just streamline to a fewer. And we're actually working on that, and we're doing that. But the reality is that, you know, over time, you don't intend on doing this, but over time, a company gets larger and larger and larger. You do some acquisitions, you add some more products, you grow those products, and the bag gets rather full, right? And then there's some time when you got to sit back and saying, hey, it's time to kind of get a little bit leaner, because things have gotten you know, there's just a little bit too much of too much, right? There's too much of everything, so you kind of just need to shrink it down and get a little bit leaner.
Thank you very much. And for Mike, everyone wants to succeed in their field, and congratulations for getting to the top of your field. So what would you say is the top soft skill and the top hard skill that you believe led to your ascent in your field?
Oh, look, I think, you know, my top soft skill, you know, my grandmother had this saying, and you have two ears and one mouth, right? And, you know, you got to be able to listen and understand. And I remember there was, Carlos may remember this, Dermot, I don't know if it was probably before Dermot's time, but they did a survey at ADP. And all they did was a very simple question. They just asked all the executives about all the other executives in the company. And it was just two questions. Do you know this person, and has this person helped you be successful? That was it. There was just two. And then they built out a big network diagram about who was there. And I was squarely in the middle of that network diagram, because what people said about me was that, yes, I know Mike, and yes, he has helped me in some sort of capacity at ADP, right? And that's your capital, which is how do you show up to the people, and how do you make them successful, not how successful you are in your career. Because if you do the first thing, the rest takes care of itself. So I don't know if it's a soft skill or a hard skill, but I think it's a skill about just understanding what other people's needs are and helping them. And then the other skill is just sheer determination. You know, there's one job I wanted at ADP for months and months and months, and I kept going back. It was this global outsourcing job, and the guy who was running the international business, a guy named George Steckert, he just kept telling me I was unqualified. I'd never run a P&L before. I'm not putting you in the job. Forget it. Fortunately, he couldn't fill the job. So months and months and months went by, and I just kept emailing him saying, hey, I'm still here. I want the job. And then finally, the CEO got so fed up with George not filling that job. He said, I don't care. Put Capone in the job. And I just kept at it. And like, determination is such a thing. Like, it's just such an important attribute that you got to have. Resilience is another word for it that Vipul used before. But absolutely keep that at the top of your mind.
Thank you both very much.
Jonathan, you're on mute.
And I was doing so well. So great question, Simone, great answers. And Ronald, sir, you have the next question.
Great. So first, I just want to thank you both for coming out. It's a really great opportunity, especially for students like me. So I have two questions, one for each of you. You both got your own individualized questions. For Vipul, you went from working at a business with your father to being a senior vice president, a CIO. So what would you say is the best advice for students like me who want to break out of the competition and maximize their college time in order to have a positive experience on the industry that they wish to enter one day?
Look, keep learning for one, and for two, keep asking. I think Mike said it too, right? He kept asking. There was something that he wanted, and he kept asking, and he kept asking, and he kept asking. I will tell you this, you know, you asked me when I was sitting in your seat, was this where I expected to be, or this role and in this position? And the answer is no, right? I had a very different idea. I had a very different path in mind. And circumstances occurred where that path changed. And then I got onto a new path. But where I am today, yeah, I kind of decided maybe 15 years back or 10 or 15 years back that this is the type of role that I want to be in. I looked at where my strengths lie, where I can do the best for an organization, where at the end of the day, where I enjoy things the most too. And I said, look, I think I do best being in a senior technology role. And by the way, don't be fooled. That doesn't mean that you're just sitting there and in the bits and bytes and reading code and writing code all day long. No. That also means you have to lead technologists, and you have to work with technologists, and you have to help other technologists get great too and become amazing, because you have to give them the like, from what I've learned, give them like, hey, I wish I did someone did this for me. Now let me pass that forward and allow them to do that. So, but the angle at which I approach it is through technology, versus others may approach it through finance, and others may approach it through a different angle. My angle is through technology, but the outcome and the goal that we're all headed towards is the same, right? And so I know my strength lies in technology. I'll use that as my strength to get to the outcome, which is servicing our clients and growing our business and really helping the world and helping all the families that rely upon the work that we do.
Great, thank you so much. And my question for Mike, what impact do you see business intelligence having on the way business is conducted, both between businesses and the people employed?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question, and the answer is it's almost all encompassing, right? The reality is business intelligence augmented by artificial intelligence, machine learning, is going to get embedded. Today, it's still a thing over here, you know, data science, and you start to see it get embedded in processes now. So the obvious examples are the Amazon, like, hey, you bought this, now you're gonna buy that. That is a trivial example. That is like a baby example of the things that are going on right now. What we're seeing now is everything you do, every phone call you make to a customer service center, or every case you log, every piece of music you listen to is really predicted, modified, enhanced by business intelligence and artificial intelligence. And that's just going to continue. And the companies that don't get that are going to be in big trouble because it's happening and there's disruption is going on right now. And that's it. So like, if you want at least employment for the next 20 years, you know, go get up on data science, learn to code R or Python, learn data robot, get in that space, because it is going to fundamentally change the way things are done.
Great, thank you so much. And again, thank you both for coming out and answering our questions. It's really great that you guys took the time out for this.
Thanks, Ronald.
Yes, stellar question, Ronald. And my friend Liza Black, are you here? Because you have the next question.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dean Hill. And thank you so much for coming to the university virtually and speaking to the students. I'm sure what we've all picked up has been invaluable. I'm a master's student studying cybersecurity, so I am interested in trends in cybersecurity. And in particular, I'm interested in what are the data security implications should employers be concerned about? And does ADP offer any services on security for employees accessing payroll and timesheets from their home networks? And I think also adding on, this information could be invaluable for smaller business clients who don't necessarily have larger business partners to reach out for better practices on this issue. Thank you.
Sure. Like, so for the first part, like, I think you're right smack where we need more people focus is in cybersecurity, right? I mean, let's take today's event. Like, the only way we can spend time with each other is through this cyber interaction now, right? And so I think you're absolutely in the right spot, and I hope and I wish for you to have a really good solid career. I don't think this is going away, right? The more technology comes out, the more the need is going to be for what you do. Look, from our perspective, you know, we're about trust. At the end of the day, why are people buying from ADP, buying from us? They're buying trust. And part of that trust is we've got to secure their data. We've got to secure their access to that data. In fact, we take that security so seriously that we, our security services, we kind of run like a product, right? So in fact, we do run it as a product, and we built it up as a product. Now, we're not securing, quote unquote, every endpoint, because we can't go, and we're not installing something on your machine and every endpoint machine. So we're securing it back when you try to log into our servers and onto our side. But we, again, we're even innovating over there, and we treat those security products and those security services, we build them and deploy them and run them just like we would any other product. And in fact, I'm really proud to say that the team that's working on that has, we've even gotten certain patents on the work that we're doing over there. So it is, of course, it's utmost importance to us that the security that we have around the data and what people are trying to access.
Okay, thank you. That's really interesting.
And Mike, I'm sure your guys are the same, right? Click.
Yeah, look, I got to tell you, I don't miss my days at ADP where I had to worry about cybersecurity, because they do an amazing job, and that trusting is really important. But it is, I mean, it is the topic, right? And the bad guys are getting badder all the time in this space. You know, the other thing that your generation has to contend with is just use of data, right? So I think about security in terms of like physical security, cybersecurity, all those things, which is great. The thing I wrestle with more in my role is use of data and the evils that come with misuse of personal data, right? And I don't want to be judgmental of Facebook or Google or anything like that. You guys have to make your own calls. But when you give up your personal information, you have to know that people are using it in different and nefarious ways. I'm not talking about identity theft. I'm talking about targeted marketing, other things like that. The technology and the people who are doing the work have far outstripped the legislative, the legal landscape to control it, right? And that's the problem. We're catching up. So we're trying to legislate, but it's out in the wild right now. And it's not going to be my generation that solves it. It's going to be yours, because you're going to have to contend with it. And that trade-off of how much privacy are you willing to give up for the convenience that some of these things offer is a hard one, and you see some of the backlash, but there will be a reckoning on all this stuff, and you will be part of it. And I encourage you to take that question very seriously as you go forward, because I think your generation has like kind of let it go in terms of giving up data about yourself, not understanding the implications of it. We're starting to understand the implications of it now, and you might want to pull some of it back.
Thank you. That's excellent food for thought. I'll definitely remember.
Yeah, important question, Liza. Thank you for asking it. And sadly, we have time for just one last question, and that goes to our very own Maria Kolodnikina. Hi, Maria.
Hi, thank you so much. First of all, let me just thank you for this huge wave of motivation and inspiration you gave us today. You both have very impressive and really successful career paths. So my question is, do you actually remember any specific experience of where you wish that you had done something differently during that path? And if you were to do this all over again, what would you change? Thank you so much in advance.
Why don't I start, and then I'll let Vipul close it out here, because it's his night. It's not his night. Look, it is hard for me to look back, just given everything that's happened. I've been so incredibly fortunate. I can't really look back and say, oh, I really wish I'd done this. I've been fortunate wherever I've gone. The one thing I would say, ADP got me time in Paris, right? So I got to spend some time over in Paris when we did an acquisition. That it was a short period of time, but it was spectacular. It was really good because a lot of people bring back wine and cheese. I brought back my wife. My wife is French. She works at ADP. And that, I wish I'd done that more. I wish I had volunteered to move around. I've basically been in and around New York City for, I'm not going to say my age, the vast majority of my life, all but that little section when I was over in Europe. So if you get those opportunities, grab them, because it was life changing for me in so many ways. Intellectually and also personally. That would be my one thing.
Yeah, look, for me, I'm not actually one who likes to look back and talk about regret. And I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that. And I'll tell you, at the moment when certain things happened, certain events occurred, I'm sure and in fact, I know I was upset about them then and wish I'd gone a different way. But again, not knowing where the movie was headed, not knowing where the story was headed, if I sit where I am today and saying, I don't know if those changes back then even matter to where I am today. And in fact, possibly if things had gone a different way, I probably would have been on a different path and not ended up where I am now. And I'm extremely grateful. I'm extremely fortunate to be where I am. I had a lot of people who took chances on me, even when I'd screwed up, right? Gave me a second chance, let me do something more. So for me to sit back and saying, oh, I wish I'd done that differently, it's hard for me to say that, because by the way, even with the screw up, I was given a second chance. I got to go forward, right? Maybe if I just gone forward, I would have gone in a different path, ended up somewhere else. But because I got to that block in the road, I had to make a choice. What are you going to do? You're going to choose the right door, the left door, and the blue pill, the red pill, right? So I chose a path, and off I went. And I will tell you, a lot of people talk about, oh, this adversity, it's so bad you had this adversity, and I don't necessarily fully agree. I think adversity makes us stronger. There are times when adversity can be really, really bad and really painful and be completely life-altering and life-changing. And there are other times when, if there's smaller adversities, it's something if you take the time to pause, to reflect, to understand what just happened, that adversity will actually make you stronger.
Does that make it a very, very great answer? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. And I am sorry to say that this concludes our evening. It's really been quite a party. I don't think we've ever had one of these where not only the boss came and the CEO came out, but so many members of the family. And I really have to say thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Nagrath for letting Vipul come to us. He's an amazing guy, and you must be very, very proud of him. And I see your family is here. And did you want to ask your dad a question? He's a pretty cool guy, isn't he?
No, no, I don't have any question.
No, he wants him to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You must be very proud of Vipul.
So are we.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being PACE parents. And I want to thank all of you for coming out for this very, very special evening. And something tells me this is not the last that we're going to hear from our wonderful alums tonight. And Mike, thank you for being here as always and for making this a special night. And Vipul, many, many congratulations to you. It's a much deserved honor, very special thing. And like Miss America, it means for the next year, you have to go to ribbon cuttings and various ceremonies. So that will get you that schedule. It should be very, very special.
That'll be fun.
Love it. We do events like this throughout the year, and most of you in the Seidenberg community know the drill. If you'd like to know more, please reach out to our very talented Director of Development, Det Sao, and she will get you all the information that you need. Giving Tuesday is coming up December 1st, and it is incredibly important that our alumni and our faculty and staff step up and observe that date. That's one of the ways that U.S. News and World Reports evaluates universities, by the percentage of staff and faculty and alumni giving. So I hope you will all join me on that day. No doubt you will be getting letters and emails and texts and Slack messages about that. So appreciate your being present for that. And on that happy note, I want to thank you all. We will see you again. Wishing you all a very happy Diwali. And to our students, best of luck. Your final exams are coming up in a couple of weeks. And Dermot, thank you so much for coming out and being part of this. And we will see all of you again very, very soon. Cheers.